Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member, and again, today, doing this from a different location, um, just because of, things going on around the house. Still having some crazy cat issues, and all sorts of people were sleeping in different areas, cats and everything. So I'm in the living room. I'm in the living room so as not to disturb um, my wife upstairs because the room I usually do this in is next to where she's sleeping currently. So yeah, um, welcome to Space Oats Live, everyone. What a amazing past couple of days. I mean, I know we all want to talk about the Rogue One. I mean, not the Rogue One, the Andor season 2 trailer, right? Oh, so amazing. We're definitely going to talk about that. Definitely going to talk about that. We also have some more celebration reveals, which is pretty awesome. Especially if you love Star Wars art, which I love Star Wars art. I just can't find the space in my house for all the Star Wars art that I would love to have. And also, I don't know, like, I'd be really nervous getting Star Wars art in Japan and like having to lug it around the rest of my trip and not know how to get it home without it getting damaged. I don't want to. I don't. I just don't want to like carry around art for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to buy any art while I'm in Star Wars Celebration. We'll see what happens. But yeah, and then we got some other news. We know it's the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, right? I mean, you got to know that. So, you know, I think we all knew that it was going to be released in the theaters. So yeah, so that's happening. Exciting. Looking forward to that. And then first things first. Not long ago in this galaxy, right? We always do that, and yeah. So let's look at that. Let's look at not long ago in this galaxy. Um,
We're going
we're
to
gonna
do a
do a
little
little
bit
bit
of
of
both
both
here.
here.
Oops.
Oops,
My
my
bad.
bad.
My bad. There we go. got a couple different camera angles here. So yeah, so that's a young Mark Hamill, is it not? So we're gonna do not long ago in this galaxy. What happened today, February the 26th, not long ago in this galaxy? I tell you what happened like right now in this galaxy is I'm watching Star Wars, and I just got finished watching something, and I gotta put on more Star Wars, right? What am I gonna watch? You know what? I've been watching the Lego Star Wars stuff, so I think I'm gonna go back and watch these Freemaker Adventure shorts. I'm gonna put these on. How about that? Those are fun. Those are fun. Just going through the classic stuff. Anyway, not long ago in this galaxy, you may have seen this on TV. You may have seen this on TV. Why? Because February 26, 1984, going back to 1984, CBS Network premiered A New Hope. So Star Wars A New Hope in 1984, premiered in 1984 on CBS. That's a long time after the release, right? Really long time. Return of the Jedi had already come out. So, no, yes, Return of the Jedi had come out and it had been out for about a year now. So, yeah, so we had A New Hope premiere on CBS today in 1984. The network drew in around 36 to 39% of all total television audiences. And if you just think about that for a minute, almost 40% of everyone watching television that night were watching Star Wars. That's crazy. That's crazy. Almost half. I mean, just under half. Just under almost half. 36 to 39%. I say 36 to 39% because I've seen various sources on this. I've seen 36%, I've seen 39%, I've seen um, over 39%. So lots of different various. Who knows? Could have been more. Could have been more. We don't really know how these. really know how they get these ratings of viewerships. I know now it's probably pretty easy. They could probably just like, I mean, they're probably tracking all of our data, right? But back then, when we're talking about just like television signals, nothing was digital back then. So how did they get that? How did they get those numbers? I don't know. But anyway, the event became a release, historic release. I mean, with that viewership, I mean, anything's historic when you get that high, right? I want to know, like, I wonder if, like, what the most, I didn't look at it to see, but I'm curious to know now. I think of these things, like, as I'm talking it out. What is, like, the most watched, like, thing that happened on television? Like, it was at least like everybody was watching this. They had the TV on. This is what they were watching. What was the highest and what was it? That I don't know, but something I'm going to be looking up probably later this evening. It was hosted by Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, that evening. There was like a really interesting kind of like behind the scenes program that kind of went along with it. You can actually see that. I actually put it in my link on this podcast. So if you're interested in seeing that, they cut out the movie parts, which is pretty cool. So you could just watch the introduction, the conclusion, and like where the commercials were, the different things that they did during break to talk about Star Wars behind the scenes. So pretty fantastic little thing there. I remember watching it, but I haven't watched it in a while, so maybe I'll throw that on at some point tonight. So yeah, A New Hope premiered on CBS today, February 26th in 1984. Now, talking about things that have been released. We're going to go ahead and I'm moving things around of what I'm talking about, so bear with me here. Andor season 2, got a lot of information on that this week. We got our first Andor, A Star Wars Story teaser trailer, and the poster reveal. Poster, kind of, this is like most of what the poster looks like. I love the imagery here, the artwork. Cassian's face over top of the Death Star and kind of like blending into the Death Star, which is kind of interesting that they picked to put the Death Star on here. Now, we did in the trailer see the Death Star. However, we know that Andor Cassian does not know about the Death Star as of yet, because he doesn't even find out about that until Rogue One. So interesting that they really put that as a big part of this story, especially since nobody really knew about the Death Star. My guess, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out like who knew about this and when did they figure out that it was a planet killer, or what it could do. Maybe that's going to be in the politics of it, the Empire part of it, Mon Mothma and things like that. But I'm curious as to how it's going to happen with Cassian not knowing about it, because there's a lot of connections with Cassian even being on Coruscant. So it'll be interesting to see how all these stories kind of intertwine together in this series as it takes us right up to Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. But the trailer was fantastic. Fantastic trailer. Creator Tony Gilroy weighed in a lot on season 2 of the series, starring Diego Luna amid his journey to Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. You can read a lot about that on StarWars.com. There's a really great article with some quotes from Tony Gilroy and a little bit about, the series as we get closer and closer to the release. The first trailer exploded onto the scene. I mean, I've watched it like 3 or 4 times already. Been fantastic, and I know that so many people have seen it already. It was released Monday, I believe. Monday, so it's had a couple days as of yet. we get a glimpse of the birth of the Rebel Alliance, kind of just continuing to grow in this series as we know it when we come to see it in Rogue One, and then also in A New Hope, which is really fun to see the Rebel Alliance kind of born in this series, which is fantastic. Kind of how Mon Mothma is going to kind of take her place in that positioning, which is going to be pretty cool to see. Creator, executive producer Tony Gilroy also has shared that this season will follow Cassian's journey in the 4 years leading up to the events of Rogue One, with the 12-episode story unfolding in 4 weekly chapters of 3 episodes each. So, if I'm reading that right, so we got 3 episodes 4 times, 4 weekly chapters. I don't know if I'm like reading this correctly, but it almost sounds like that we're going to get 3 episodes each week for 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm curious if we're going to get each story arc each week. That would be an interesting release if they did it that way. I think I would like it. I think I would like that. Be like an hour and a half of programming each week, I'm guessing, if they do the 30 minutes a piece per episode. But why not just do 4 hour and a half long episodes, if that's the case? I don't know if that's the way it was read. I'm going to read that again because this is exactly the way it's quoted from StarWars.com. It says, 12 episode story unfolding in 4 weekly chapters of 3 episodes each. 4 weekly chapters of 3 episodes each. So, is that the way it's going to be? Just 4 weeks, 3 episodes each week? Don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out very, very soon. Season 2 is going to see the characters, their relationships intensify, of course, as the horizon of war draws near and Cassian becomes a key player in the Rebel Alliance. So, love that. The first season really was just him kind of figuring out what he was going to, what direction he was going. It was kind of almost backstory for Cassian. And now we basically are going to see him full on becoming a key player in the Rebel Alliance. So really putting him up there when we meet him in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. In addition to the trailer, which was a very tense cacophony of blaster fire explosions punctuated by Edie Carn's laughter. Loved that. We have the new key art, which was released. And this hints at Cassian's transformation into the leader and captain who will succeed in the mission to steal the Death Star plans on Scarif. That poster pays homage to the Rogue One campaign, if you remember. It does look a lot like a closer up version, more focused on Cassian, but that part of the Rogue One Star Wars Story poster, which had Cassian's image in front of the Death Star, kind of the Death Star in the background. So yeah, it definitely pays homage to that. So pretty cool. The trailer was just amazing. I mean, everything about it was just outstanding. I don't know what I want to talk about with the trailer, but it just it was all over the place. We saw so much in that trailer, but like I said, I've watched it like 4 times, so I think it's interesting that they didn't do a teaser trailer, and they just kind of just skipped to this type of TV spot trailer. It wasn't even like a theatrical trailer because it had all of the reviews from Andor season 1, which was interesting. I don't for one of the top series, you wonder why they felt it necessary to give all these reviews of the previous season. It's almost like Disney sometimes gets scared with these series, with some of them not working out the way that they want to, and they're trying to hype it up a little bit too much. But 90 seconds was the trailer release. A full range of action pieces, tons of character appearances. I mean, the ones that we know were in season 1, the ones that we are returning that maybe were in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, that are going to be shown in this season as well. Just so many appearances. And then that dance party. I just got to show that. I think this was kind of my favorite part of the trailer, honestly, was this dance party scene. So looking forward to this part of the story. Numerous different looks for Cassian throughout this trailer, kind of like the way Luthen kind of changed his appearance in Andor season 1. Cassian's kind of playing that out as well in this trailer in a way. Big appearances from Rogue One characters, K2SO, which we heard was coming back, which of course, we got to find out his origin and how they bring this on screen. Saw Gerrera coming back, Orson Krennic coming back. I mean, who doesn't love a little Orson Krennic, right? Coming back on the screen, just looking fantastic as Ben Mendelsohn does. And I mean, it was so great to have Forrest Whitaker come back. You got to have him come back. So I think there's going to be a major story arc with him, kind of maybe even explaining his extremist feels for how the Alliance or the Rebellion should be. And maybe that disconnect, where that disconnect came from, that we kind of find out about in Rogue One, what happens that causes that. Might have a cameo of Jyn Erso, you think? Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. Plenty of teases, lots of explosions. So seems like that these episodes are going to be a lot more action-packed than season 1. It seems like it. But then sometimes trailers are deceiving. And I don't mind if we get a lot of story, because I loved some of my favorite parts of season 1 were the Mon Mothma storylines. So some of the things that were kind of interesting. It almost looked like Kylo Ren's starfighter in his TIE Echelon in one of the scenes. I don't know if anybody kind of caught that, but very interesting advanced model, kind of that advanced interceptor TIE model. Looked pretty amazing. Don't know who was in the cockpit there, but just full on eviscerating the stormtroopers with the ship's laser cannons. So, probably not the TIE silencer is what the Kylo ship was, but very similar to that one, and then also similar to Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. So pretty close to that. There was also kind of it's kind of a nod also to the TIE Avenger, which was in the Star Wars TIE Fighter game. Now that one I think had points on both ends, which I don't know if you can tell from the trailer if it's pointed on both ends. If it is pointed on both ends, then it is the TIE Avenger. And I would love to have them call it the TIE Avenger, because that would bring that Star Wars TIE Fighter ship into canon, which would be pretty cool, and a cool little Easter egg at that. So pretty awesome there. A really kind of a mystery, again, maybe a feel for why Saul is the way he is, at Saul's base, and what happened there. We see basically a dead body in the hangar bay, as the X-wings are departing. So kind of curious what happens in Saul's hidden rebel base. So most likely it was raided at some point. Could be that Saul was responsible, and maybe this is kind of him parting his ways with the Rebel Alliance into his extremist role that we find him in Rogue One. So could be, how that happens, how they kind of split ways. Again, going back to the party scene that we find with Mon Mothma. I'm going to go back to that again. This party scene, I really love this. Genevieve O'Reilly, again, one of my favorite parts of Andor season 1, and I'm so glad that we're going to get her coming back. I love that this just kind of goes. We're getting like all the hyperspace jumps, all the action, and then we go to this dance party, which is curious. Thinking that this is going to be maybe the wedding that we kind of like had hinted in season 1. Not sure, but it would be interesting to see if this actually is on Chandrila, which we've never actually been to Chandrila before. So it'd be really awesome to be able to see if this is Chandrila and this is the Chandrilan wedding. That we have, of course, really curious to find out what happens to Mon Mothma's family, and if this is one of the reasons why she is so dark. In the sequel trilogies or the prequel or the original trilogies, just knowing that something's got to happen there, right? So we're thinking it's either Leia's wedding, which is her daughter, or maybe some other event tied to her engagement, possibly. But if it's some sort of like Chandrilan tradition in some way, can't wait to see that. Always hoping for maybe the Halcyon to show up, of course, right? That would be amazing if we got Chandrila star lines in some way or another. An Easter egg would be fine. I'd be okay with that. We also saw a really cool like farm field going on where apparently Bix and Brasso, because they pop up kind of briefly in this, and it seems like they're hiding out on this planet or moon with farming, which is pretty awesome. And it could be Fresno, which was the moon where the Aldani heist sought medical help for their fallen comrade Karis. So, because that one, the doctor, his area was surrounded by crops. So could be that same planet. Could be something totally different. I'm fine if it's totally different. But Bix and Brasso may have fled there after the massacre on Ferrix. So we see them at least briefly, but also we see stormtroopers there as well. So it seems like the Empire has found them. And the trailer also shows Brasso struggling to escape a squad of stormtroopers. So, and then also Cassian flying low over the farmland and firing a missile at an Imperial transport. So, hopefully everybody makes it out alive. But as we know, Andor Rogue One is all about people not surviving, and all these people got to go away at some point. So if they weren't in Rogue One, most likely they're not making it out alive. That is my guess. there was a really cool shot of guys in stormtrooper armor but no helmets. The Empire is all about stormtroopers not removing their helmets, so this is an interesting bit of who are these troopers. Their weapons are drawn. Are they some sort of Imperial commandos? The armor, they look like normal stormtroopers, but I did this the last time. I forgot to turn on my. Give me 1 minute, because I forgot to do this again. There we go. Sorry about that. I always forget that my lights are automatically timed to go off. But yeah, they don't really look specialized in any way. So don't know who these guys are, but it's probable that they're field agents of the ISB, where Deidre works. So we'll have to see if this is true. And yeah, we'll have to find out what the reason is of these no helmeted stormtroopers. Cyril is in the trailer as well. We see him in an Imperial facility, but he doesn't have an Imperial uniform on, so that's interesting. So what is he up to? Is he still kind of not really accepted into the Empire because he's just got this vendetta against Cassian? We'll find out. So, but he kind of running out of this appearing to be Imperial building. Not even for sure if it's an Imperial building, but he's wanted to work for the Empire, but he might end up having his wish, especially with how him and Deidre kind of ended it. You know, with that kiss, that was kind of that weird, creepy kiss. Remember that weird, creepy kiss that him and Deidre had? So that was kind of weird. But maybe he gets his wish and he gets to work for the Empire. I guess maybe we'll find out. Trying to find out what I'm going to watch next. I just got through. Let's do the Yoda Chronicles. How about that? Yeah, what's he doing in this facility? Is he a consultant or is he there for an interview? I guess we'll find out. And then we also see Cassian on Coruscant. Now he's obviously blowing something up, but why else is he there? Yeah, we're going to see him in a lot of situations and a lot of different disguises. And looks like, he's on Coruscant, but right there in the center of Imperial power. Not really sure why, but we know that Mon Mothma, Luthen Rail have their own networks on the planet, so might have to do with Mon Mothma, meeting Luthen at some point on the planet. Maybe that's why we see him in that suave, debonair disguise, that James Bond look, I like to call it. But we know at some point Mon Mothma has fled, because in Rebels season 3, she gives that speech during the Imperial Senate session, and she calls the Emperor a dictator, and then she flees with the help of Rebel agents without her family. So we don't know if her family's already has perished at that point or what, but one shot in the trailer seems to show Krennic speaking with Mon Mothma, and that is kind of suggesting that he's on to her. So maybe that's possibly right before that speech. Maybe Cassian is part of the plot to get her off of Coruscant. That would be pretty cool if it ties into Rogue One or Rebels. But that I don't know. I don't know if they're going to really tie it that close into Star Wars Rebels and tie it in that much. But all of this stuff we're going to find out starting April 22nd, because that is when Andor Season 2 premieres. So super excited about that. If you haven't watched the trailer yet, you got to watch it. It's fantastic. It is amazing. Again, I've been watching it at least once or twice a day, every day. So it's been pretty amazing. So again, another release this year that we are looking forward to, and I really hope that I'm going to be able to find some time to get to the theaters to see this, because I would love to go back to the theaters and see this on the big screen again, is the 20th anniversary of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Returning to the screen, returning to theaters. We'll play in select cinemas, and it will only be for a limited time, 1 week, to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Anakin Skywalker coming back, trying to bring peace to the galaxy, peace, freedom, justice, security in his new empire on screen. So looking forward to that coming back, re-released in theaters April 25th, and running in the select theaters and international territories for only 1 week. Only 1 week. That's what kills me, is if I can get there on my days off. It's going to be the issue. But that is going to be a goal of mine. But I think that's like as I'm coming back from Japan. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do that or not. We'll find out. Any midnight showings anywhere? I don't know. Last but not least, we're going to go into some really cool reveal from Star Wars Celebration, and I'm probably going to spend most of the rest of the time just going through these different pieces of art that have been shown, because there's just some amazing stuff. So Star Wars Celebration Japan, which is coming up so shortly, we have some reveals about the art show that's going to be there. And I love going through the art area of celebrations and seeing just all Star Wars art, different artists, and just seeing the amazing things that they can create. And there's some really awesome reveals already for what you can see and what you can get exclusive to Star Wars Celebration in Japan. And there's definitely something for every Star Wars fan that is going to be there on the floor. Most of these prints are always exclusive to Star Wars Celebration. So if you're not there, you're not going to be able to get it. You can be fans of anything. There's really awesome art for the Stranger, from the Acolyte, Ahsoka Tano, Boba Fett, Padme. Some awesome art. So I'm going to go through just some of these amazing art pieces that are going to be revealed or there. The first one here is from Jonathan Beastline, and it's entitled Overwhelming Odds. This is kind of like really a piece of art inspired by the Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary. And it's really showcasing the impending defeat of the Jedi. You can kind of see the Jedi at the bottom of this piece with just the Empire rising up above them. Grievous directly overhead. Anakin, who has kind of not yet turned, but we know he's going to turn with Dooku, just kind of pawns of Darth Sidious and his empire that he is basically given birth to. I love the layout of this poster, or this piece of art. I don't think this would be something that I would really want, but I think it's a great piece for celebrating the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. And if it's something that that you know, anybody that's looking for that type of inspirational artwork for this year, I think it's definitely a must-have for somebody that's going to be at Celebration and that can acquire this. So again, not something that I probably would be purchasing, but again, don't know if I'm going to be getting any art while I'm there, but is a fantastic piece. And yeah, so that one is one that will be there. This one here, I like this one too. Again, this is not something I would purchase per se, but I do love the idea of this. This one is from Trisha Benson. It's entitled "Your Path You Must Decide," and one of the things I loved, even though the Book of Boba Fett was all over the place, um, one of my favorite episodes that had nothing to do with Boba Fett was this episode here, where we saw Luke training Grogu. And, we see Luke kind of at the peak of him being a master. And really kind of Grogu being his first student, really. Kylo would be later his first student at the temple, but Grogu being really his first student that we know of. And it's really a cool parallel with him being on Dagobah, where him being an apprentice to Yoda, same species but kind of in reverse, a mirror of each other. And I love how this is depicted in this art by Trisha Benson, where he's passing on that knowledge to Grogu as a Padawan, kind of throwing back that image to when Yoda is imparting that knowledge to him on Dagobah. So I love this mirror image here. Again, not something that would be something that I would purchase, but I think she just does this so well, and it's a great idea, a great concept with this piece of art. So great job, Trisha, there on that, and I can't wait to see this piece showcased at Star Wars Celebration. Now, a little bit of man crush here. I love the Acolyte, by the way. I really wish that they would have done a season 2 of this show. And I really hope that even if they're not doing a season 2, that they do something else and the Stranger comes back in some way. I loved this episode that this is coming from, the inspiration of this. Candace Daly, this one is entitled "Peace is a Lie," which was one of the quotes from The Stranger in episode 5, which was entitled "Night." What a dark episode. What an amazing episode, just to see what a dark side user can do, and just how raw of power and just ruthless he was. I think this episode alone should have gotten fans just crazy about this series, and I don't know why it didn't. But this is definitely one of the coolest fight sequences in this episode. I agree with Candace. She said the same thing. Really just in all of Star Wars. And it just from a different era, just the amazingness of it, the dual lightsabers, the way his lightsaber connected, very reminiscent of Samurai's. That is my cat playing with a bird toy, and that is probably going to continue, and I apologize. Yeah, she's going nuts. Anyway, it was just such an amazing live action duel, and just slaughter, really showing the intensity of a dark side user. So loved this piece of art. Again, I don't think I'd put a man crush piece of art on my wall, but if I did, this would be it. This would definitely be it. Fantastic. So now this piece, on the other hand, I could see myself having. So this is a good one. I mean, I feel that there's enough pieces like this. I might have to go get that thing. I don't know. She's going nuts with this bird toy. Anyway, Brian DeGear, never underestimate a droid. I love droids. I think a lot of people know that I love droids. And this piece just gives us some of the most wonderful representation of Star Wars droids that we've had the pleasure of getting to know over the years. And I mean, it's got everybody on here. I don't know if there's a droid on here that's missing that I would want on here. K2SO, Huang, BB-8. I don't Chopper. Everything, every droid that I did, all of them, all the ones that I would love are on here. I don't think it's missing anybody. Is there a droid that's missing or on here that would just be that should be on this poster? I don't know. The only one that I don't see that I guess I think I would want is L3. L3 is not on here, and yeah, that kind of makes me mad. L3 is not on here. So besides missing L3, we got all of the best droids on here, right? I think if I would like take off a droid, I would take off either Dio or I don't know. I'd take off somebody and then put L3 on here. But they even have SM33 on here. It's so cool. Love this piece. Again, never underestimate a droid. So amazing. The next piece that's going to be released at Star Wars Celebration is another really awesome piece. I can actually see myself having this one as well because I'm a huge Ahsoka fan, and I loved this piece of art. This one's called A Hero's Journey from Tracy Easterday, and it really does pay homage to all the stages of Ahsoka's life that we've seen in animation and in live action. So just kind of her progressing through her story all the way up until currently. Love this piece. It's just got a beautiful background, kind of like the World Between Worlds, Mortis feel. I could see myself owning this piece, definitely. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. This one here also is a favorite of mine because now we're getting into some of the ones that actually have Japanese inspiration as well. Star Wars Celebration being in Japan, so the look, the feel of Japanese pull into Star Wars has always been, and actually putting more into that in the art style looks amazing. So this one's from Seth Grows. It is just entitled The Phantom Menace, and it's a beautiful shot of Queen Amidala in the palace as she's looking out when the droid army is coming in. Fantastic piece. If it is this kind of shape as well, almost like a Japanese banner, this is going to be a tough one for me because I really, really do love this one. It's one of my favorite pieces that has been announced and showcased as being released in Japan. This is another one that I really love. I just love the coloring of this one as well. It's really fantastic. And again, it really showcases the Clone Wars in a major way. Danny Haas has done this one, and this is called Heroes Broken, Destiny Changed. It has inspiration from season 5, which was the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars at one point, when Ahsoka decided to leave the Jedi Order. And it is definitely one of my favorite seasons, as it was said that it is of Danny's as well. And he wanted to pull from the stories of that season that would ultimately change the course of so many of our characters, which it did. And I do love the look, the feel of this, just the anger almost in all of the characters, the intensity of the characters in here, and I just really love the coloring as well. The reds, the blacks, the whites, just look fantastic. So this is definitely another one of my favorite pieces, probably my second favorite piece, that has been showcased, that will be showcased there as well. This one's a good one too, and I'm not a huge Plo Koon fan, but this one really jumped out at me too as well. This one is from Akinobu Hara, and it is called Rosho, I think. And this really shows Plo's quiet strength as he protects his comrades and upholds justice. And I just love the positioning, his pose here with his lightsaber. I think it's a beautiful piece of art here. Um, and if I really wanted something of Plo, honestly, this would be it. Plo Koon is one of those characters that I just would love to see more of in live action. Because there were so many story arcs in the Clone Wars that made me fall in love with this character. And I would love to see more of him in live action. We got to see a little bit of his species in the Acolyte, but it really didn't play into, too much of the story. But I would love to see more of the species, more of him in general. If we ever got to tell any stories of Master Plo, I would love to see that in any flashbacks or anything like that. This next one is from Joe Hogan, called Darkness on Umbara. The Umbara story arc from the Clone Wars was one of his, he felt was one of the most compelling Star Wars content that the Clone Trooper fans had ever received. Kind of agree with that. Not wholeheartedly, but it's a great piece. This is a good one, especially if you're a Clone Trooper fan. So, yeah, really showcasing the Clone Troopers in this one. So that piece is going to be revealed as well. Next one is another favorite of mine because I love Boba Fett, right? Who doesn't love Boba Fett? This one's from Brad Hudson. It's called The Daimo of Mos Espa, and love how it is kind of taking the Book of Boba Fett series, but then also taking the classic appearance of Boba Fett when he first appeared in Marvel Comics and kind of putting them together. So love this look as a comic book piece of art, but then also as a retro piece plus a current piece with Cad Bane on there, with Chrysanthemum on there. I really do love this one. I would love to have this one as a reprint. It would go on my wall. It would go on my wall, definitely. Really cool piece by. This one is another fantastic one, and I can see that my wife would probably buy this one if she saw it. So might have to maybe let her see this one because this one looks amazing. This one is called. This one's from Matilda Menchuel, and it's called The Force, Serenity, and Harmony. And it really does merge the Star Wars universe with Japanese art here, exploring the themes of balance, spiritual connection, unity. We have Grogu, we have a Loth Cat. It just gives a very peaceful, meditative feel in this look, in this piece of art. And I mean, I love the coloring of it. I love the Japanese art style. Kind of has that yin and the yang look too, as well. Yeah, I could put this in my living room. It looks fantastic. This one's a neat one, especially if you're an Ewok fan. So this one is entitled Tale of the Rebellion by Joey Mason. This is the scene where C-3PO is recounting the story of the rebellion to the Ewoks of Bright Tree Village, which we saw in Return of the Jedi. Just watched that the other day. Yeah, it's got some interesting coloring here, but looks pretty fantastic. So that's a cool one that was released. That is going to be released. This one here is called Angel of Naboo. It is by Don Murphy. Has inspiration from classic fairy tale illustrations, and it depicts a quiet moment for Queen Amidala before stepping out to confront the Trade Federation's blockade of her planet. Don't like this one as much as the other Queen Amidala one with the more Japanese feel. But again, the fairy tale feel of this one, I get where it's going, and it's a pretty interesting little piece there. For all of our Hayden Christensen fans, this one's called Anakin's Path by Suno Sanda, and this really expresses the point of Anakin's heart by putting that lightsaber, a symbol of power, staring at Anakin, or Anakin staring at it. Just, I love the shadows, which kind of giving them the dark and the light, and then the yellow lie really being the one focus there. So a pretty cool piece there, and a good interpretation of that. This one here is quite interesting because this is kind of like a gathering of favorite pieces by Tomoko Taniguchi, called Love in the Galaxy. She actually did, this is like a combination of like a lot of her different pieces over the years, put into one poster, which just is full of love, beauty, and cuteness in this one. So really cool inspirational pieces with this one all put together in one, and pretty interesting as how everything kind of ties together there. This is another one of my favorites here. Again, interpretation of one of my favorite things was when Dark Horse Comics took George Lucas's first drafts and made them into a comic. And we got to kind of see the first draft story of what it would have been, but actually played out in a story in comic book form. And that's what this piece does. This one is called A New Hope. It's from Hidetaka Tenjin. And this is basically what Star Wars A New Hope would look like if it were reimagined as a Japanese period piece. So, and great, I mean, we've seen Japanese interpretation style action figures and sculptures, with, especially with Darth Vader, with the look and how he connects into the samurai look and feel. And this just takes this on screen as a movie poster. And I love this one. This is just fantastic. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces that is going to be released there in Star Wars Celebration. This one's an interesting one, and I thought some of the things about this piece were, as far as what was chosen to be on here, was a little bit interesting. But this one's called Freighters of Fortune by Chris Trevis, and it pays tribute not only to the Millennium Falcon, but to other notable starships like the Ghost, the Fondor Hallcraft, which Luthen Rail, which is an amazing ship, but then also the Outriders on here, which is pretty cool. I think it was interesting though that, you know, we have Han Solo for the Millennium Falcon, we have Harrison Dula for the Ghost, we have Luthen for the Fondor, but nothing for the Outrider. Nothing for the Outrider on here. And there is another ship as well, I believe. And I don't know which ship that is up in the corner. But it looks like there's 6 ships on here. Unless that's just another look at the Ghost, kind of. But I don't know if that's the Ghost or not up in the corner there. But we don't have the Outriders character in this poster. So, I don't know. Kind of mixed feelings about this one. But I love all those ships, though. This is a really cool one. This one is called Vader by Malcolm Tween, and it's really atmospheric, slightly abstract image of Vader with the towering silhouette of the shuttle, basically defining the space of this piece. Which, who doesn't love the Imperial shuttle? It's such an amazing ship. The shape, kind of mirroring Vader in a way. Really, if you look at the triangular shape of Vader, body as well as the Imperial shuttle. Really does mirror that, and it captures that essence of it in this piece here. So pretty beautiful, very modern-esque look with this piece as well. This one's very interesting. This one is called The Force Arcana by Diane Vesnelis, and it's kind of bringing forward the magical side of the galaxy far, far away, connecting some of our favorite characters and places to the major arcana of the tarot. And it has a motif that highlights a lot of their fantastical aspects. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about this one, but I like it as a thought piece. I do like it as a thought piece. And then finally, this last one here, gotta leave Ahsoka for the last one, right? Called The Travelers by Ksenia Zelestova. This was definitely an inspiration to draw the iconic scene of Ahsoka connecting to the whales, the Purgle, in Ahsoka Season 1, when Ahsoka is pursuing her journey. She was interested in trying to capture their contrasting coloring as it appeared in Rebels, and the design that basically we first saw them at, and fell in love with these creatures at, and they've become such a big part of Star Wars now. So pretty amazing. Love the Purgle, right? So what a great piece to end on, huh? How about that? So fantastic. Some amazing pieces that we'll see in Star Wars Celebration Japan. I hope everybody enjoyed some of those pieces and look forward to seeing everyone in Japan if you're going to Star Wars Celebration Japan. Again, Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary coming to theaters. Hopefully one coming to your theater near you, and you get to see it. I really, really hope I'm going to be able to get to see it this year. And Andor Season 2 trailer. If you haven't watched it, gotta go watch it. And then also Star Wars A New Hope premiering on CBS today in 1984. That is your Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. A lot of people joining in and joining out. Nobody really commenting, but thank you for watching. If you are watching this, thank you for watching later. Please like, subscribe, hit those notifications so you know when I go live. I also do a segment called Not Long Ago in This Galaxy each and every day. I go live and post something that happened in Star Wars history. Yeah, so in the meantime, until next time, which I do this each week, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hope everybody has a great day, great evening, great rest of their week. Remember to do something Star Wars. Watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars. But most importantly, whatever you're doing, remember, may the stars light your way. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time.